We set the trend in this cripping.
So, you are, you have been, you will be under the groove.
Snip this glue, get in the zone, because we got to go do something. So that's what we did. And I'm going to be honest with you, I used to like it. You got people from the east and the west and different places, to come over and groove with us.
Was Hoover Groovers a part of Hoover? Never met a Hoover Groover.
Never
Me neither, never in my life. But
A part of what was called the Bonzella Crips.
Hoover Groovers ain't started no Hoover Crips. And we hit that hand moving on you, walking in your house.
Wait, do that again.
Hit that hand moving on you, that messed up your whole party. You are, you have been, you will be under the groove.
Dre 4, 711, the Deuce, and the 9. Hey, man, it's a fabulous Hoover Hay to the nifty 50s, the cultural enthusiasts, the Hoover Knights, and the collective. This is another Who banger that Under the Groove is privileged and proud to bring before the people. The Five Deuces Hoover Gangster Crip's turn is right now. And in keeping with the direction and progression of the program, we have with us today Five Deuces Hoover Gangster Crip OG 10 Speed in the Hooververse to continue the construction of Hoover's patchwork quilt of origins and its historical unification up and down Hoover Street and all through the community for all of you. Look, man, I got this man here, man. We about to do this thing, man. It's an honor that you made your way, man, to the podcast, to the platform, man, so that the people can get aboard Five Deuces Hoover Gangster Crips. They've been clamoring for this, man. Yeah, they've been in the comments about where the Five Deuces. You know what I mean? So we got you representing that right here, right now, man. It's great. Appreciate it that you're here and that the homies, you know what I'm saying, that, sanction this get out, man, with Under the Groove, man. We're going to make the best of it. This is what Hoover do. Education, man, I think is something that's sorely needed. You know what I mean? Especially on the set, that our history.
That's right.
In an educational sense, I think it's needed, man. And I mean that in all spheres of the existence of what education is, and not just the historical sense. Let me put it like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're being here, man. I hope we can tap into those issues, man. That, deals with not just our historical sense or our historical side, but everything that involves us, man, and everything we're involved in. All right. Yes. So let's get to this, man. Like I say, it's been overdue, you know what I'm saying, and also it's been anticipated that you would come in and sit down, man, and chop it up with us, man, about Five Deuces Hoover Gangster Crip history, man. First and foremost, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, man.
Okay, let them know who you are, because I said it, but hearing it from you is something different.
I'm Big 10, better known as Big 10 Speed, Five Deuces Hoover Gangster Crip.
There you go, man. How old are you, bro?
I'm 66.
Man, okay. Now you grew up where?
I grew up on 52nd Place between Hoover and Figueroa.
There you go. Okay. And that's like, you weren't born there per se, but that's where you grew up at as a child.
I grew up over there. I started off on the east side, though.
Okay.
29th and Central.
Okay.
And, in 1966, we moved over to the west side. Before that, it was a riot in 65, and then a lot of people on the west side moved away. And then they opened the door for other people of our color to move in.
Okay.
So we moved in on the west side. It was good back then.
Okay. So, man, that's good here, man. And you got it. And basically, that was what you call a progression. You guys were progressing from the east side to the west side.
To the west side.
Situation,
yeah.
better area.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a child, man, as a kid, do you recall some of the things you guys were into, that interest you most as a kid coming up, man?
I was into sports, bikes, mini bikes and different things like that. Other homies had birds, and everybody had all different type of things. But, we all put it together. And it's, everybody put their stuff together. You might go to birds next year, but I stayed with the cars and the mini bikes and the bicycles and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's common for most kids growing up, man. Mini bikes, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, cars and shit. Now, who are some of the kids you grew up with? And if you can name them, are you guys still cool to this day?
I grew up with Gangster T, Big Red,
Okay.
Johnny Parker, his brother Randy, rest in peace, Mad Dog Monarch, Madman Tim, uh, people that's my age.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were kids though.
We were kids.
Man, through elementary, all that type of shit.
52nd
Right?
Street School, John Mir Manuel.
Okay. So yeah, that's a history then for sure. What I recall talking with Joe and him and his loved ones that they were growing up as kids. And one of the things that stood out to me that he spoke about was how they stuck together. Because back then you had to stick together to survive and stay safe, man. Was it the same for you guys? Were there elements out there that were dangerous to you guys that you've been alone rather than as a group, as children?
Well, everybody had their little fears and stuff like that, but it was kind of when I grew up, it was rough because you had the Gladiators. You can get beat up by them anytime. You know what I mean? Walking down the street, the Gladiators was right there. And
As a kid,
the Gladiators was right there until Vietnam War started. It took a lot of them away, but the Gladiators was right there. So it was always a threat. Or somebody was back in the day. They was taking leather coats. You couldn't wear no leather coat, so somebody was jacking. Other than that, it was a threat coming up. So that made the kids tougher. When you hit the street.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, just by listening to Joe explaining you as well now, it paints a picture that, you had to have some type of camaraderie or group around you amongst you to stay safe, keep certain elements off you. There were the Gladiators, and that was what, mid-60s?
The Gladiators was like
well, for you, your experience,
early 60s all the way up into the late 60s when they someone went to Vietnam, some of them didn't. But it was two parts of Gladiators. One part was by USC, and the other part was on 54th Street.
Okay, and that's the part you were more familiar with. 54th Street.
To 54th Street. Yeah.
And again, this is when you were a kid.
This was like in the early 60s.
Wow.
So in the early 60s.
Okay. So shit, man. I'm trying to imagine that, man. And that's just the Gladiators.
Well,
was it somebody?
It was the Slausons. But when I grew up on the east side, my sister was a Slauson. So I got introduced to the gang life at a young age. My sister her boyfriend or her husband was a Slauson, and they used to initiate people right there on 65th and Hooper at Slauson Park. They used to have to climb the flagpole. So I used to be in the car watching.
They climbed the flagpole for what reason?
To get initiated. If you had to go to the top of the flagpole and touch the top of it, you come down, you were Slauson. But if you didn't make it, they give you a couple of tries. They go with it the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
They go ahead and see what
your
knuckle game
we're
was
gonna
about.
jump you in now.
That's right. That's how I went. You didn't really want them cats.
Yeah, you didn't want that.
Were real squabblers back then.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. They had chunkums, major chunkums. But everywhere they went, they fought. It wasn't too much gunplay back then. You fight, and if you lose, sometime you just come home and nurse your wounds and get back out there. That's right.
Yeah. Damn. It's totally different from what they go through now or nowadays. I imagine. Nowadays you ain't gotta have a squabble gang.
My mama told me before she died. She said the kids today is weak. They're not like y'all when y'all grew up. That's coming from an 80-some-year-old lady telling me. I said, wow. She told me that.
I would agree with her as well, because I recall how we came up and looking at my grandkids and all that, and how they coming up now is totally different.
Yeah, they got computer screens.
Yeah. They're not as involved, with what's outside or what goes on around them, so to speak.
No, they in the house.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. So you had the Gladiators first, the Slausons also.
Yeah. Well, I started off on the east side, so I knew the Slausons first. So I got introduced to knowing what gangs was. And once I moved over to the west side, it was the Gladiators, and then they had the businessmen too. So they always it was always a gang. Anytime it was always a gang somewhere.
No matter what area.
No matter where it was.
What area was the Gladiators when you moved on 54? What area did they have?
They had the same turf as we have now.
Same boundaries.
From on Hoover, from Vernon all the way into Slauson. on Figueroa from Vernon to Slauson, and then even on the one-way, fly all the way to Slauson. But Butlong, Vermont, and Butlong was kind of broke up. But we pretty much had Vermont, but Butlong was broke up. You know, you can go, some parts of it was ours, and some part was other. They had a few more little gangs around there was popping up that they had little turfs around there.
Okay.
But
And that was good. What about the Slausons?
The Slausons had that area first. You know what I mean? They had it, and we came in right up under them. That's basically some of our teaching coming from the Slausons.
Okay.
Mine.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
I had to bring it down to the younger homies.
Okay. And you know, and since we're on that topic about who was in the area at the time, you know, are you were Brims in existence at that time?
The Brims, they were called Harbor Park Boys.
Okay.
They came to be Brims later on, but they started off as Six Deuce Harbor Park Boys, and then they went to Six Deuce Brim. And then they even had some 5'9" Brims for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They was over there for a minute until, you know, some things happened and they had to shake the spot.
Right. So the Harbor Park, that's across Vermont.
Yeah.
That was across Vermont.
So if you went to John Muir and you lived across Slauson, you had to squat.
You in the heart of it.
Yes. Yeah. You know, you had to fight the Brims on the way home.
Yeah.
So you know, it was always something. It was always something. Man. The Brims, they were squabblers too. They didn't care.
They with the business.
Especially if they go in serious and get some kryptonite, then you know you can't even knock them out. Then they be so high.
Well, what was it? They went.
They go in the store and they wet a rag and pour flow stripper on it and sniff it. They call it kryptonite.
Whoa.
And the Mad Dog was the worstest one. He hanging out in front of top. You know, he's like a grown man trying to beat up on ninth graders. So we ended up, you know, we had to pack him out one day, but it didn't hurt him because he was high off that kryptonite. But yeah, the Brims, they probably was a dominant over there before there was any Crips over there.
Were they known back then before to be up and down Hoover as well?
The Brims?
Yeah.
Not on Hoover. They didn't come up and down on Hoover. They, not too much, unless they had a girl over there. You know,
yeah, right.
Girls will bring them out of their territory. You know? They come over there for that. But no, they wasn't as a gang. No.
Okay.
Because you know the Gladiators had the Hoover sold up.
Okay.
So you know they was the gang over there for a long time.
Okay. And sticking to that, this is like, again, we're speaking to your early age.
Right, exactly.
You know, we're not speaking to when you come off the porch and
get
cracking.
This was in the 60s.
Okay.
This is when the Vietnam War was going on, and they was taking them back and forth. The Gladiators' numbers diminished; they went down. You know, it wasn't them like maybe 10 of them. You know, Freddie Brooks and James Ray, you know, Loogie, Leo, Slick and Bunny, Luigi. It was a bunch of them just hanging out. Big Ferocious. It was a bunch of Gladiators still there, but the majority of them went to Vietnam.
Got drafted.
Yeah, some of them didn't come back.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, man, as a kid, that's what you was encountering. Yeah. I went through what I went through, but not as, you know what I mean, on that level.
And it was rough, you know, because, you know, you got war, but if you not really into nothing, like I'm adventurous. I knew all the Gladiators and everything, but you know, they had the army people would come down in this green station wagon. They pull in front of the homie's house, and their mama and them start crying and let them know they didn't make it. So we used to follow it. You know, I said, they go to green station wagon. We get on our bikes and follow, see who house it went to. And we find out who didn't make it back from Vietnam.
Man. Damn. It wasn't even traumatic. It was just something y'all understood was going on.
You know, you get used to it. You know what I mean? You just, you know, it's anytime you get to seeing it.
You seen it.
Right. You just don't phase you. When you're young and stuff don't phase you like that, man. You just you know, you go through life. It toughens you up.
So back to what we're talking about in terms of who you ran with as children, you know what I'm saying? You guys were y'all into school activities and shit? Like, I know you did the bikes, some did pigeons, mini bikes, go-karts. What other activities were you guys? Any of you guys Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, you know, them community type activities, YMCA and all that?
Oh yeah, I was a Boy Scout. I played basketball. You know, I did all kind of stuff in school. You know, back then, you know, your parents, you can game bang, it'd be at night. But you're going to go to school, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I was in the Boy Scouts for a minute, right there on 55th at Second AME Church, and I played basketball. So those are my two things I did, activities. And most of the homies was right in there with me. Let me see who was in. Thomas Daly, he lived away. Bodie's brother, he was in the Boy Scouts. Big Chris Jackson, rest in peace, he was there. And a few more homies, Kevin Pittman, Michael Franklin. There was a few older homies, older than me, that was Boy Scouts. And I got in with them because I was tall, so I always hung out with the older guys.
Right. Yeah. For your age, you were tall.
Right.
Thinking
So,
you were, probably older than what you were. Okay, so all this took place, man. I think the most logical step in this questioning is, okay, then at what age or when was it you stepped off the front porch? And in that respect, what was it about? What got you off the front porch? Was it your hustle? Was it a female? Was it gang banging? What came first?
I came off the porch gang banging at about 14. I got rushed by the brims coming home from school, and I wanted to get them back. So, it was all about getting them back. So a few other homies. So we formed it. We was turned to like the 50 boys right after that, about 14 years old.
The 50 boys.
Yeah.
Who was all part of that, if you don't mind?
Big Red Jr., Gangster T. Let me see. It was Big Rayvell. And then let me see who else was with that. There was one of the homies named Wayne, rest in peace. It was a few homies. Let me see. Wayne, it was a little Dre, Big Dre Dog. He was a part of that.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Dre Dog.
Yeah.
So 50 boys, why? Why the 50 boys? And, right quick. I've always heard something about the 50s, the nifty 50, the 50s. What's that about?
Because basically nifty 50s, hustling. We had the number one hustler. We had Cadillac Bob. He was hitting big licks. Everybody was coming around there trying to get crews together. So we just named it the Nifties. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was getting money. After once the Crips came out, the Brims kind of like died a little bit. And so it was all Crips, and then all Crips was together. So we wasn't Crips. The youngsters wasn't Crips at the time. We was just hustling, and stuff developed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But other than that, we was just the nifty 50, the 50 boys. We was just sticking together, and we didn't even know we was together, but we was together. And as time went on, we seen how together we were.
So the coming off the porch, it really occurred, or it happened as a result of gang banging.
Right.
It wasn't hustling first. You're going to hang out at night at some female's back window or nothing like that. It was about getting your bang on, your groove on first. That's what brought you off the porch.
Yeah, we was coming off. Yeah, basically the brims. Basically getting jumped on by the brims, and just had to squabble every day. You know what I mean? I'm off the porch now. You know.
Okay, yeah, it's on now.
It's on.
Yeah.
And that was in 73.
73.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I imagine everything followed that. You know what I mean?
Right.
The girls and hustling and
the girls was there from the beginning.
From the jump.
Yeah, they was there before I came out.
So the girls was first there.
Yeah, they was right there.
I think that's also a transition. You know?
Oh
what
yeah,
I mean?
it is.
Like money making. You get that mindset. I want some money. You start figuring out hustles or ways to make money. But back then, whether it's collecting cans and bottles, or burglarizing or whatever, snatching, your hustle game was whatever it was to get you some money. So that was another aspect in terms of expressing coming off the porch, I think.
Well, it was a lot of more opportunities to me, I see back then, because you had people that we had a guy on our street named Rudy. He used to take us out to Burbank and sell mints.
Okay.
And then I had a hustle. I didn't want to throw no paper, so I went head on and I just went down the street, and any woman that was by herself, I take out their trash. I had a bunch of them, so I just get money every month from that. They pay me once a month, so I had a bunch of little hustles I did. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of hustles.
Yeah,
and I started. Matter of fact, I started doing that when I was 9.
So that was first.
Yeah, I started doing that when I was 9. So I was on 52nd place. I was hustling. So hustling was the forefront of everything over there.
Hustle was the first thing.
Yeah.
Hustle, yeah, okay. Now I imagine the girls was next in the banging there.
Man, that's how it went.
Yeah, okay. Hey man, I think that transition, I think that's the norm.
That happened everywhere.
Yeah, that's the norm, I'm sure a lot of dudes can speak to that. Okay, yeah, when I first came up, it wasn't because I was, you know, being mischievous, rowdy in the street. Hey man, I wanted some money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
One thing led to another. Okay, you know, again, you try to imagine, or I want to ask you, you know, if you can remember what that was like, you know, getting out there and hustling, getting that money, you know what I'm saying? For what purpose? As a child, you hustling. Why?
Well, first of all, my father left and my mama was taking care of me and my niece and my nephew because my sister, who was a Slauson, died in a car wreck in 1967.
Yeah.
So we was so I had to help her. So I helped her. I just get the money, whatever I had, I made my own money. So that took a lot of burden off her. And
so hustling was a necessity.
Yeah, it was basically, you know what I mean? Just trying to have enough, you know what I mean? Trying to help my mother, you know what I mean?
And that again, that's typical.
Yeah, it's
a lot of,
it's almost a natural instinct, you know, if you
to provide, look out,
that's what it was. So that's what I did. And that led to other things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I say, man, I think when a lot of us, when we speak about coming off the porch, we're not really tapping into what that really entailed or what it was about. You know, most dudes, they all come up with, you know, with the machizo, you know what I mean? You know, game, but they not really saying, man, I had to get down these streets and hustle.
It was a reason. It's a reason for all things. Everything has a reason, you know what I mean? A purpose, so or a reason why you did this to get this. So
okay. And my thought is that not only is there a reason, but some things lead to other things. You know
exactly.
I mean? You know, so I don't know, man. It's something to look into, man. We can delve into, man, you know, in future, you know, episodes with homeboys and shit about this coming off the porch thing. But you know, I looked at it that there were 4 aspects to it, man. You know, one was just being mischievous. You know what I mean? 2 was the hustle. And it's funny that, you know, I wrote them all down, actually. You know what I mean? Before I even asked you about it, you know.
That's right.
You got the hustle. You were being mischievous of girls and then banging.
Right.
So you did, you know, you tapped on all 3, man. All 4, excuse me.
Trey folks, 7-11, the Deuce and the 9. You have been, you will be under the rule.
But we ain't gang banging. This is about education. We trying to educate our youth right now, nigga. Hey. Said day is the best day. Skip walking across the floor in the best way. From Trey to the one way. It's a stump day. LA to the NY. Let this funk play.
Back in them days, it was love, loyalty, respect, and honesty.
That's my nigga Gumby right
there. You know, ex-busters, hooks, and snitches put on pedestals and ventilators.
Say lows on that Hoover shit. HIP, Tiny Moo, one of the hardest poets I ever heard connected with this star shit. Hey, baby Jap and Jap 5, quick to set it off on the mic in the shack live.
When the shit get real and feel to the wheel, and then you will see sitting up in that motherfucker looking at that light sin, that death sin.
Then they run into a witness stand, telling on their own homeboys.
Hoover stomp all night like this. Hoover stomp
I know trouble. I know how to start them BS motel.
I'm a New York nigga in the Pacific Sun. I say West Side Hoover if you ask where I'm from. Finest California run, still infusing my lungs. All about my bread, I ain't leaving.
Understand the end game. What's your end game? What's your purpose?
Keep one in the head or I don't need a gun. I'm with Hawk on Hoover Street with a low ass drum. Hopping down Figueroa with a whole selling gun. Grooving like this, come second to none. Grooving like Scone Young, grooving like Booker Bone. I'm bad to the bone.